This tragic story took place in June 2020. Mikhail Kudryavtsev, 27, failed to show up for work in the morning, which was immediately reported to his aunt. Mikhail was a very kind, reliable, quiet and calm boy from an orphanage. The boy was taken in by his aunt. The aunt, who knew Misha's common sense and sense of responsibility, was surprised and alarmed at his absence from work. She started calling people close to Misha and even contacted his friend, who, after a pause, said, "Misha sent me an audio recording and said he was being taken somewhere in a boot. But I didn't believe him. I think it was a joke." The police were immediately contacted by Misha's aunt, who was informed by Misha's friend, and he gave her the names of the people who had kidnapped him. They were his ex-girlfriend Yana Tarkina, his new boyfriend, and their mutual friends Andrei and Lydia Ostapenko. The officers arrived at the suspect's home and took them by surprise. The couple tried to leave in a hurry, but did not make it. After talking to the police, they were forced to give the whereabouts of Mikhail. Mikhail's body was found in a wooded area between the towns of Rytkovo and Popovo, surrounded by trees, with signs of violent death. The suspects in the case were detained immediately. Mikhail was a generous man and treated his mate with special affection. He had fallen in love with Yana, who was 4 years older than him, had 3 children from a previous relationship and seemed kind. Jana eventually introduced him to her friends Lydia and Andrei. They had 3 children and seemed like friendly people. The only problem was that they often drank, which Misha did not like. Their relationship deteriorated when Mikhail bought a Subaru for Jana. The loan was in his name, but Jana registered the car in her father's name. Eventually, after receiving this gift, she no longer needed Mikhail, and they broke up. The woman repeatedly argued with her ex-boyfriend and did not want to repay the loan herself. Her current boyfriend also insisted on that. Her friends Lydia and Andrei also supported her. After all, she is a mother of 3 children, and they should support her desire to help her. When the family realized that they would not be able to get money out of the good Misha, they decided to teach him a lesson. During the summer, Jana's friends were drinking, and it got to the point where they remembered Misha, and one of them said, "Misha is spreading bad rumors about Jana and Lida. I personally heard him say that Jana and Lida are lesbians." The girls were furious about this information, and their men decided to get even with Mikhail. Despite their frenzied state, the 4 got into the car and headed for Mikhail's home. Calling their friend, they asked him to come down. The unsuspecting Misha came out to his friends, thinking to sort things out, but under threats, the unfortunate man was pushed into the boot and taken away into the forest. Misha was only able to record audio of him telling a friend about the situation, but the friend did not believe him. It is unclear why Misha did not contact other acquaintances or his aunt. When the friend heard the recording and tried to call back, the phone was switched off. While he was digging in the ground and trying to reason with his comrades, someone took a bat and hit him on the back and indiscriminately beat him in the ribs. Lydia pulled down his trousers and Jana proceeded to taunt him, raping him with the bat. Andrei set Misha on fire several more times while the girls abused him. The torture continued throughout the night until morning. On the contrary, they poured petrol over him to make him moan less. In the end, they made fun of him, which I am afraid to say because YouTube would not like it. Jana and company took off their clothes with Mikhail's blood on them and burned them. They'd washed themselves in the lake and went home. In the morning, the 4 hurried to pack up their belongings and hide, but in the afternoon, the police had already detained them. At first, no one showed remorse. All those involved in the crime behaved calmly. The men blamed the women and the women blamed the men. The men were confused and did not understand what had happened. Yana thought she would get away with it because her father had connections with the police, but Mikhail's death sparked a storm of indignation among the locals. The strange murder became a high-profile case and escape became impossible. While in pretrial detention, Yana repeatedly tried to slit her wrists. She became hysterical and assured him that she would cut her body as many times as she could until she died. After public pressure, both Yana and Lydia were given the maximum sentence of 15 years in prison. Andrei and Yana's boyfriend, names still withheld, went to prison for life. To Mikhail's family, most people on the internet expressed their condolences and support.